It's safe to say Valve is hard at work on Deadlock after getting back from the company holiday in Hawaii. Not only did we receive a major update to the game that entirely overhauled the shop mere days ago, but Valve are now back with another substantial set of tweaks. Tonight's update focuses on adjustments to heroes, items, the map, and even introduces one brand new item. Oh boy, that's right, it's time for Patch Notice. As always, I'm your host Jacky, and you're watching Patch Notice here on Dead Air. Let's start off with the general changes. Firstly, there's been some statistical tweaks to the hero kill bounties. Players have been a bit frustrated with feeling like they've been rewarded low soul values for hero kills at the moment, with players being rewarded far more just for farming or staying in lane. Now, Valve have tried to combat this by increasing those hero kill bounties, upping both the lowest and maximum value that kicks in at the 45-minute mark. We also saw adjustments made to the 2 hero soul split ratio, with this going up from 5%, from 60 to 65 per soul split, that should give you and your laning partner a bit of a better deal. Moving on from that, there was also some further tweaks made to the soul orbs themselves, with the securer's advantage over the denier being reduced. Of course, that's that slight safety net of secure buffer that's given to the player that is confirming souls, rather than the player attempting to steal souls away. Now, soul orbs have also been given a visual flash, so you'll know visually when that capture window has begun. Some players have been struggling with the new soul design, of course, where they spawn in a blackened state and will then become colourful to indicate the opportunity to grab them. Hopefully this makes it a bit easier to understand. Another big change is that troopers will now gain 50% resistance when inside of the enemy base. That's 20% up from the previous hotfix. Rejuve's trooper multiplier has also been reduced, going down from 2.2 at base value to just 2, and at the high end down from 2.8 to 2.6. Of course, both of these changes are a fine balancing act, with Rejuve and those resistance changes to troopers making ending games a bit of a tightrope walk. Talking of walking, walkers themselves have also had adjustments made to their resistance versus troopers, with it now reaching minus 40% at the 20-minute mark rather than the 16-minute mark. Alongside that, the base HP for walkers will also be increased by 10%. Walkers, especially outer lane ones, have felt very paper thin in this patch of Deadlock, so I'm glad to see any additional health being given to them. Now, there is a caveat to that, with objectives globally receiving a spirit resistance reduction, going down from 50% to 40%, so a 10% base reduction. So it does balance out some of the changes mentioned. Another interesting change that was thrown into tonight's update, though, is the range to attack shrines. Talking about ending games quicker, this will certainly help when you are invading. You can see just how much additional height and distance you can now have when fighting the enemy shrines. This is quite far back, even further than 25 meters when checking the actual range split. So keep that in mind when it comes to dealing damage from a distance. Next up then, let's take a look at the map changes and see what Valve have done to affect the base in tonight's update. Of course, this free split that's on screen right now is from before the patch. I also want to just give you a quick overview of some of the areas that have changed, as notably it's the base outer lanes that have been adjusted. You can see here with Greenwich and York, the base guardians and bridges used to be further back with more of a shape to them. In the after footage, you can see that the base guardians have been moved down to the lower level. We've had the bridges flattened out and a new doorway opened up on the right hand side, which, as you'd imagine, will connect to the rope area that gives you access to that second layer when invading the enemy base. Here's a quick before and after comparison so you can see just how much further down the Guardians have moved. This adjustment is an interesting one, and I saw some rhetoric about it with people saying they don't really like the idea and think it was better before when I posted some comparison images onto the Deadlock subreddit earlier before posting this video. However, I do quite like the idea of the gameplay interactions of opening up this small area and giving that corridor that can allow rotations and quicker access to the secondary elevated position without necessarily burning stamina or clambering over the top of the bridges. The bridges, however, I would agree, I feel like maybe it is a bit of a step back, and do wonder what the decision making was, if Valve are trying to use this as a way to potentially stop games from ending as quickly, or if they are still trying to speed them up. Of course, a lot of the tweaks that have been coming in after the major update itself, the hot fixes and slight updates that have been being pushed, have been focused around trying to condense the lengths of game. Now, I imagine a lot of that, of course, is affected by how the base is designed, with the new base itself probably being a cause of some games stalling, with certain players not quite being used to it yet, with us only all having access for around about a week now. I like the changes overall though, and you can see here how much quicker your rotationary paths would be from lane to lane, even on ground level, all the way from Greenwich to York, with these new access points that have been put in. I don't think it's a bad change. Curious though what the community thinks, so let us know down in the comments below, especially now you've seen these before and afters that give you a better sense of just what Valve have done. The cursed apple keeps changing, and so do the heroes, so let's get into the hero adjustment part of tonight's update. We'll start off with Abrams, who you'll see has had his move speed reduced. That's going down from 6.8 to 6.5. Move speed and sprint speed has been a big topic of Deadlock's balance since that huge change, obviously a couple months ago now, from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. We've seen constant iteration of global sprint increase and then move speed being tweaked on a hero by hero basis to counter out quicker, snappier rotates, allowing you to gank, but not making any hero stronger than the others when it comes to base speed. So a slight nerf to Abrams there. If we drop down, we can also see that some more adjustments have been made to Dynamo. Rejuvenating Aura has had its tier 3 reduced. That's going to be going down by 0.5% from 3 to 2.5. Kelvin has also had a couple of changes when it comes to his stamina cooldown. This is going to be increased from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. Of course, that's that regeneration cooldown and length to get a pipette back on your actual stamina bar. This is how long it takes in real time. Moving on, let's check out what they've done to Geist, as this one is going to cost you a little bit more HP per Essence Bomb, as that self-damage spirit scaling is going up from 1.3 to 1.6. You can see the before and after comparison here. Now, it isn't anything revolutionary, but of course it is going to be more damage that you're dealing to yourself, especially with the increased scaling damage from using spirit items over the course of a game. So just something to be aware of. Meanwhile, for life drain, the range has been reduced ever so slightly by 2 meters. It's not that much of a difference, but you do need to know about it. Then let's jump over to McGinnis. Now McGinnis, it's all about heals, as the adjustment here is focused on the Medicinal Spectre. It's tier 3. That's going to be reduced from 3.5% to 3%. So of course, more blanket focus on overpowered healing and healing in general being targeted inside of the hotfixes we've been receiving since that major update. Moving over onto Shiv, you can see that his move speed has also been tweaked in a similar manner to Abrams, going down by 0.2% from 7 to 6.8. Alongside that, base gun damage has been reduced from 4.95 to 4.6. So again, a couple of changes there to Shiv. Nothing that's going to make him unplayable or completely broken. You're still going to have a hard time in lane if you don't like playing against Shiv. Let's move on to Viper, however. This one actually could make a difference, with the crit bonus scale going down by minus 20%, like Kelvin. Bullet damage growth, however, has also been reduced from 0.33, so that's going to make a bit of a difference when playing Viper, as it's now dropped all the way down to 0.28. Moving on, checking out Warden, its 2 adjustments here just focus around Last Stand. Its tier 2 has been reduced from plus 70 DPS to instead plus 60, with 10 DPS being knocked off the top, and that spirit power scaling is going to be increased from 1.3 to 1.4. So swings and roundabouts there. Full Auto's tier 2 has been tweaked on Wraith though, who is very strong right now. She's getting an awful lot of play and synergizes very well with a new itemization that's just gone in from the rework, so still worth playing some Wraith if you enjoy the character. Finally, moving on, we can check out Yamato, that's had a slight reduction to her heal, as is the theme of the more recent updates, with heals being targeted for minor stat reductions. Hers is going to be going down on Crimson Slash tier 2, all the way from 8% to 6%. Moving on, you can also see that the HP increase per boon has been reduced for Wraith, Viper, Shiv, and Lady Geist. So you'll be getting less HP per level up on those heroes. Now, we had to get some item changes in this update, as of course we've just received the major item rework, so balancing those items is now in the hands of Valve. The players have found the overpowered builds for Gun, Vitality and Spirit, and Valve have begun tweaking them, so I'd recommend reading the patch notes, as nearly every item has been changed in some way. They've even added a new item, Radiant Regeneration. This new upgrade item is a tier 3 in the Spirit category, and probably worth picking up. It sounds incredibly strong and is inherited that passive, of course, from Boundless Spirit. Boundless Spirit won't actually give you a passive at all anymore, instead just giving you 10% spirit power. Interesting, huh? We've also seen some tweaks to the UI side of things. You can see here in the before and after comparisons on screen, although none of this was mentioned in the patch notes, Valve are playing around with the item and UI art, so they're still listening. If you have feedback, definitely post it on the forums. Some of the more unique UI art that's gone in though, of course, is for items like Split Shot and Spirit Sap. These aren't just minor adjustments, these are actual brand new assets, and genuinely they look quite cool as well. I love the new Split Shot one. So there you have it, a quick roundup of all of the interesting parts of the update that's just been shipped for Deadlock by Valve. Get back out there, it sounds like it should bring some nice layer of balance and a bit of fresh air to what's otherwise a great Deadlock patch right now. Get back out there, enjoy it. I've been your host Jacky, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, there's plenty of other videos on the Dead Air channel, so why not click one of our playlists and see what you get.